Oh, it's going to really rock again, isn't it, Jared? Oliver laughed. It's amazing to see someone with the skin of a newborn baby born in a Neutrogena tub speaking like a middle-aged father desperately trying to connect with his teenage son. But before we can celebrate Jared's big success and return to our rockin' self, we absolutely have to find a way to reopen certain parts of society. Many experts say that it means one thing: testing. In managing a pandemic, there is almost nothing more important than comprehensive and effective testing, said Oliver. And yet, tests have been rare in the United States since the beginning, the original sin of the failure of the American pandemic, because it could have allowed the containment of the virus through code. Experts agree that, as Oliver explained, the lack of testing goes to the very heart of how we got into this situation, and the truth is that broad testing is our only sure way out. The lowest estimate of the volume of mass tests required to reopen safely is 500,000 tests per day. A good goal would be 35 million a day. The United States currently performs an average of 200,000 tests per day. Think of it like this: if our goal was to eat an Italian dinner, we are currently stuck in traffic on the way to an Olive Garden, said Oliver. We are not even halfway to the worst place that qualifies technically. This is why Oliver spent the evening asking, what happened? First, there was an initial failure to provide diagnostic tests, which tell you if you have the virus, when FIST cases first appeared in TH. The CDC decided to make its own test kits, but since they were shipped across the country, it was revealed that chemical contamination during manufacturing made testing unnecessary. So if it's a big hit for anyone, he concluded, it's for the damn coronavirus. Worse, the CDC took weeks to find a solution. The United States has lost almost a whole month to test people in a viable way, which Oliver described as absolutely catastrophic. Private laboratories tried to intervene, but outdated regulations and bureaucratic red tape prevented them from producing their own tests. It wasn't until the end of February that the FDA authorized private labs to develop their own tests, but by that time an entire month had passed and incredibly we hadn't tested number 8,211, nationwide number 8,211. South Korea, which had its first confirmed case the same day as the United States, had already tested 55,000 people. For too long, the American response seemed to be characterized by an arrogant belief that, for whatever reason, the coronavirus was never going to come to America because, I suppose, it just wouldn't. And unfortunately, we are currently experiencing the consequences of these first failures. The slow deployment of the tests coincided with paralyzed supply lines from China, causing a shortage of test components such as swabs and chemical reagents. Trump, who initially rejected requests from state governors for further testing, ultimately invoked the Defense Production Act to manufacture test supplies, but it was too late. "Timing is absolutely everything here," said Oliver, and the tests were heavily rationed. "No, it isn't, Jared," replied a furious Oliver. "It takes nothing extraordinary to take months to do what other countries have done in a few weeks." "The only thing that is extraordinary here is that the most punchy face in the United States somehow seems to have never been touched by human hands." There are now over 150 different antibody tests on the market, none of which have been approved by the FDA, and, to paraphrase one expert, many tests are garbage and more than half of the positive TE. In summary, the testing capacity of the United States today is simply not sufficient, and although Oliver conceded that some confusion is inevitable when a new disease begins to spread worldwide, all of this means that in May, we continue to catch up in the midst of a pandemic, which in turn causes thousands upon thousands of people to die of preventable deaths.